everybody, welcome. We're going to be practicing a beautiful yoga vinyasa flow today. And this yoga vinyasa flow is going to be rooted in the third yama, which is known as Asteya if we're practicing the 8 limbs of yoga. Yamas make up the social ethics or kind of the aspects of how we can better ourselves and thus contribute better to the world around us. So earlier we had studied ahimsa, which is kindness or nonviolence. There's also a yama known as satya, and then today we're practicing asteya. Asteya, loosely translated, is not stealing. And that can be translated very literally, which would be referring to not stealing material goods, things like that, not stealing product. But it can be also interpreted much deeper than that. And there's a lot of different themes that we could look at within the non-stealing aspect of Asteya. But one of the main ones I think is good to focus on is the idea of contentment, or the idea of happiness for all, and the togetherness that can come with that when we practice Asteya. So if we in our hearts look at others and view their accomplishments or their lives or their journey with envy or with jealousy, we harbor within ourselves a lack of contentment. We harbor within ourselves instead comparison to others. And with that comparison, we rob ourselves of any joy or happiness that we could have for the other, or the joy and happiness within ourselves. So in a sense, in that act, we're stealing that joy and contentment from ourselves and in our lives. So by looking at others around us, loved ones, acquaintances, coworkers, family members, if we look at their journey and celebrate their successes, if we look at what they are able to do, not with jealousy, not with envy, but with happiness, with pride, with joy, we realize that as we feel that for others, we are taking part in some small way of their success. We're celebrating alongside of them. That way we're being able to share in their joy and their prosperity. And so that sharing of joy then translates into a connectedness within all of those people around us. So that connectedness, that togetherness, it eliminates that aspect of competition and stealing joy and contentment within ourselves and from others. And instead, it brings just a very peaceful way of existence with those around us. So I love always seeing that displayed in the yoga community, with athletes. Anytime we see groups of people just applauding those around them, wanting to see others succeed, we then can feel the success in ourselves. So when we're on our mats practicing Asteya, it's always important to never compare ourselves to those around us. If we see others practicing yoga that maybe are stronger or more flexible than us, we can celebrate that and see that as goals that maybe we want to set for ourselves. And when we do that, we take away that aspect again of competition and comparison, so that we can celebrate those around us as well as celebrating the success of ourselves. And that's a beautiful way to practice Asteya. So now that we're on our mats, let's go ahead and begin. I'm gonna lay with my head at the top of my mat, feet at the end, on my back. Go ahead and get settled. Here we are. I'm going to pull both knees into my chest. We're just going to do a nice kind of rock side to side. Wonderful. We're going to pull those knees into our chest. And slowly exhale. As we do our warm-ups, let's set any intention we'd like for our practice. Breathing in, pulling those knees in nice and close to the chest. And exhaling. Maybe as we breathe in, we're breathing in the intention of that yama, Asteya. Breathing in the idea of contentment. Breathing in the idea of non-comparison. Maybe breathing in the intention of self-reliance. Breathing in the intention of minimalism. All of these intentions can relate to the concept of Asteya, to that deeper level of releasing any attachment and practicing non-stealing. Wonderful work. So I've gone back and forth with this double kneaded chest stretch. I'm going to plant those feet nice and flat on the mat, hands alongside of me. Deep breath in, squeezing those hips and lifting upwards to the sky or ceiling. And with my exhale, I'll just release right back down. Good. We'll do that again. Deep breath in and lift. Exhale and release. Nice long breaths, practicing mindfulness by doing just an overall check on our body, maybe feeling where there's tension being held as we lift into our bridge and lower those hips down to the mat. Good. One more time, deep breath in and exhale out. Wonderful work. Let's bring that right knee into our chest, left leg extend all the way out. Deep breath in, holding it close. And on our breath out, maybe we extend up and stretch through that hamstring. Then we can lower that left leg down to the mat on our inhale. Exhale in that nice corpse pose. Good. We'll do same thing opposite side. Left knee into the chest. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale, left leg down. Control that lower. Exhale, corpse pose. Nice and relaxed. Let's do that one more time. This time, maybe on our inhale, we bring our knee or our forehead to our knee. Exhale, keep that head and chest up as we do a nice hamstring stretch. Inhale, release that leg down, down, down. Exhale, corpse pose. Same thing. Inhale, adding that lift to the head, neck, and chest, using those abdominals. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Keeping that head, neck, and chest lifted. Inhale, release that leg down nice and slow. Good. Exhale, corpse pose. We're going to add one more level here. Inhale. As I pull my forehead to my knee, I'm going to float that opposite leg. So we're going to hold on that inhale. On that exhale, hamstring stretch. Leg is still floated. Inhale, we're going to go to hollow body. Good. And slowly lower to the mat. Corpse pose. One more time on the opposite side. Inhale, float that opposite leg. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale, hollow body. Exhale, corpse pose. Good job, guys. Nicely done. From this corpse pose, we'll take just a beautiful inhale and exhale.
feeling that heat in that solar plexus that we created from our multiple repetitions of that abdominal work. When you feel ready, we can go ahead, roll to our side, sit ourselves all the way up. Let's bring ourselves though to staff pose first. Okay. Good. And from this staff pose, we're going to do kind of a similar movement pattern. We're going to inhale up. Good. Exhale, we're going to reach right knee into the chest. Inhale, hands maybe go to the feet or the ankle. We're going to extend up. Good. And release back down to staff pose. Same thing. Inhale up. Exhale, knee to chest, opposite side. Inhale, hamstring stretch. Maybe you straighten all the way out. Maybe you leave that knee bent just a little bit before we release. Good. Deep breath in, staff pose, reaching high. Exhale, right knee into the chest. This time we're going to change it up. We're going to reach across our body, left hand to outside of that right foot. I'm going to reach my right hand all the way back into a beautiful twist. And then depending how comfortable you feel, you can maybe extend that right leg all the way out. Eyes can look straight ahead, to your right, or over that right shoulder behind your back. Good. Let's go ahead, release from here. Slowly dropping that leg down and extending back out, staff pose. Good work. Let's do same thing. I'm going to face away from the camera, reaching up, deep breath in. Exhale, left knee to the chest. Inhale, right hand to the outside of that left foot. I'll start to pull into my twist, extending that left leg all the way out. And again, listen to your body, honoring how it feels today. If the head and neck is uncomfortable, to look over that shoulder, again, soften that gaze, transition into a comfortable position for the head and neck. Going to slowly bring that foot right back down, back to center, extending back out, staff pose. On this final reach up, deep breath in. We're going to activate our abdominals, hinge at the hips, reach forward, and try to get those toes as far forward as we can before we release and collapse into a forward fold. Nice long spine still, using those deep abdominals to really pull our chest towards our legs rather than just rounding the back. Good work, guys. And from here, as I sit myself all the way up, hands get planted right behind me, pushing through my feet. I'm going to roll into a standing forward fold, middle portion of my mat. Walk it out just a bit. Good work. Take your time here. Lengthen through those hamstrings by walking through the knees, bending and straightening, alternating sides. When you feel ready, let's even the weight into both feet. Inhale, nice flat back. Exhale, hands reaching for that mat. Head and neck release down. And then deep breath in, root to rise. Inhale, stand all the way up. Big reach up, mountain pose. Hands to heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Deep breath in, big reach. Exhale, forward fold. Hands moving through that heart center, leading with that chest till the head and neck can release and point down. Inhale, flat back, nice long spine, hands on the shins or the knees. Exhale, forward fold. A little more active in that reach for the mat. Deep breath in, root to rise, lifting back to heart center. 1 more time. We're going to take a deep breath in, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Good. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, back to our forward fold. Let's pause here. I'm going to reach behind my ankles, really work to lengthen out that spine. Maybe we even bend those knees and straighten, bend, and straighten. Nice dynamic movement to get those hamstrings, those calves, all those muscles in the back of the leg through the hips to start to release and lengthen. Good. Let's even out those legs. Let's get those hands on the mat by our feet, or maybe even a little farther forward if we're still at the midpoint of our mat. I'm going to step back, high plank, shifting my weight forward in that chaturanga lower. Belly to my mat. Nice, gentle cobra pose. Let's go right back down, belly to mat. And we'll take our first down dog, toes underneath us, pushing that ground away, easing those hips up and back into that down dog. Just like we did in our forward fold, if it feels good to walk out that down dog, go ahead and do so. Breathing through this pose. Nice long spine. Wonderful work. We're going to return to our high plank. So let's go from our down dog, flattening that spine out, high plank, back to our chaturanga, lowering belly to mat. We're going to lift in a slightly deeper cobra now, really raising up, pushing through those hands. Shoulders are not by the ears, they're rolled back and down. Good. Releasing all the way to the mat. Once our bellies are to the mat, let's keep our hands where they are, but let's squeeze those glutes, lift through those hips and legs. Good. Legs release right back down, toes underneath us, pushing through that chaturanga dadasana into downward facing dog once again. We're going to do that sequence one final time, high plank. Lowering to that mat, chaturanga dadasana, cobra pose, inhaling, lifting high, exhaling belly to mat. We're going to release hands behind us, palms facing down, lifting through that chest, lifting through those legs, locust pose. Good work. Make sure those glutes stay nice and activated, lifting those hips high. Wonderful job. Hands coming back alongside of us, just behind the shoulders. Legs releasing down, toes underneath us. Let's reverse that chaturanga press right back up till our bodies are flat and we can lift those hips into a down dog. Wonderful job, guys. Let's complete this sun salutation A style from down dog. So bending those knees, eyes looking up to the hands, stepping or hopping forward, exhaling into a forward fold. Inhaling, root to rise, reaching those hands high. Exhaling, hands at heart center. Wonderful work. From here, reaching up, sun salutation A. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling, hands to the mat, stepping or hopping back. From this high plank, we're going to go ahead, lower through our full chaturanga dadasana into upward facing dog. Exhaling to down dog. Good work, guys. Now, from this down dog, let's lift our right heel into our first three-legged dog. Nice and high up. On our exhale, we'll pull that knee into the chest, planting it slightly to the right of our mat so we can press through that left hand, reach high with our right hand. Revolve side angle pose. From this revolve side angle, I'm going to continue reaching behind me, and you'll see my back foot is going to roll onto the outside portion. so that I'm in almost like a side plank style as I reach back. Nice open right knee. Good, bringing it back to center. Hands coming right back down to where we started, runner stretch to a down dog. Wonderful work. We're doing the same thing, opposite side, left heel high, three-legged dog. Exhaling, stepping that left foot forward, slightly to the left of our mat so that we can easily press through that right hand. Revolve side angle, but then letting that back heel kind of come down to that mat, left knee open slightly as we reach behind. Good, bringing it back to the front of our mat alongside that left foot, stepping back, down dog. From here, if you'd like to add a vinyasa, feel free to lower into that chaturanga, taking our upward dog or cobra, and returning to down dog. Wonderful work, guys. Let's lift that left heel, or right heel, sorry, once again. Three-legged dog, exhaling, stepping it forward, planting that foot. I'm going to allow that back knee to rest on the mat this time. I'm going to slowly raise up. Inhale, kneeling crescent lunge. Exhale, cactus arms, really letting those hips fall forward. Inhale, back upright. Exhale, taking a half pyramid pose as I drop my hands to the mat. Now, my back naturally wants to really round, so I'm going to try to fight that, or not necessarily fight that, but encourage instead my spine to lengthen by lifting through that chest, hinging at the hip rather than at the belly button. Good. And then as I slowly return to that kneeling crescent lunge, hands come alongside that mat, back toe gets back underneath me, lifting from the mat. Let's return to that revolve side angle and reaching back. Good, returning up, right hand to the mat, stepping back, down dog. Let's add a vinyasa if you feel comfortable, or you can stay in that recovery down dog. Okay, let's take that left foot high. Three-legged dog on our left side. On our exhale, we'll step it forward, planting it, dropping that back foot to the mat. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, crescent lunge, cactus arms in that kneeling crescent lunge. Wonderful. Inhale, reach up, starting to straighten that front leg, hinging at that hips, reaching forward, half pyramid pose. About 2 to 3 breaths here. Wonderful. On our next inhale, returning to that kneeling crescent lunge, right hand coming to the inside of the foot, back knee is going to float and straighten as we reach high, revolve side angle. Exhaling into that reach back. Good. Inhaling up. Exhaling, hands to the mat, runner stretch, stepping back into down dog. Wonderful work, guys. So we're going to change up our flow just a bit here. So we're all holding our down dog. We're going to go ahead and transition to our high plank. Good. And from that high plank, we're going to lower bellies to mat, placing our forearms on the mat, right hands just above the shoulders, and I want to lift to Sphinx pose. So nice open chest, shoulders back and down, pushing through those forearms. Glutes and lower legs are still active even though they have connection with the mat. Wonderful. Let's really slowly, like vertebrae by vertebrae, lower that chest and spine down till forehead is resting on the mat. And from here, we're going to get our toes underneath us, lift into a forearm plank. Let's hold. Adjust if you need to. Good work. Okay, from this forearm plank, I'm gonna again release belly to mat, but from here, I'm gonna actually roll onto my left side. So I'll be facing you guys, okay? Now I have a nice straight body, but I'm gonna change that just by bending my knees, okay? So this doesn't have to be perfect, but just imagine your knees pointing out away from the long side of your mat, okay? We're gonna work on pressing through these knees and lifting our hips, just like so. Okay, lifting and lowering. Lifting and lowering, using that side body every time we lift. Good. Now, we're gonna begin to kind of clam open as if our knees are the mouth of a clam. We're gonna open those knees as we press up. So here, as I lift, I'm gonna push through those feet, but open those hips and lower, close those knees. Let's do that again. Lift. Good, and lower. Lift and lower. We want to make it a little challenging. Here I'm going to lift, but I'm going to float that foot a bit and lower. 2 more. You can keep those feet together, or you can begin to float and open that hip a little bit more. Last one. And lower. Good work, guys. Let's go ahead and do that same thing on our opposite side. You're welcome to face the front of your mat and just roll to your right hip. I'm going to keep myself facing you guys, so I'm going to just roll to the other side. That way I'm still facing the camera. Same thing, knees pointing to the long portion of your mat, forearm planted. I'm going to lift. Good, and lower. Lift, hand is just resting gently on the hip, or it can reach up to the sky, whatever feels comfortable. Let's start to open those knees. Lift and lower. Pay attention to maybe how your body feels on the opposite side. If it feels easier or harder, that's good mindfulness to be aware. If you want to add in these last 3, that floating of that foot, if you haven't already, go ahead. Good work. Lifting and lowering. Good. Let's go ahead, roll onto our bellies, facing the front of our mat, toes underneath us. Let's take a down dog. Wonderful work, guys. Okay, from this recovery down dog, let's go ahead, return to our forearm plank. Good, forearms back on the mat. Taking dolphin briefly until we lower our hips down. We're gonna come into just a fully extended side plank now. Left hand up, legs extended. I'm gonna reach under my body and back up. 2 more, under and up. Last one. Good, I'm gonna then step forward, left knee flat, drop that hip to, or that foot and hip to the mat. Wonderful job, guys. Once we're here, I'm gonna stay on that right forearm, and I'm just gonna lift and lower that back leg. You can always adjust if you need to. Good. Up and down, up and down. Now, if we want to make this a little more challenging, I could push through this hand and I could reach through that left hand as I lift. So reach. Woo. Really using all the inside of the leg here. Up and down. Let's go ahead and go from this position then into a side plank. Left hand high. Good. Now as I exit my side plank, I'm going to slowly float that back leg. Left hand coming down, three-legged dog, stepping forward, forward fold. Good work. We're going to do the same thing now, opposite side, but so that I can face the camera, I'm just going to go ahead, face the opposite side of the mat. Good. From my forward fold here, I'm going to go ahead, release my hands to the mat, step back. We're going to go from a high plank to down dog. Good. Holding here. And let's go from our down dog to that dolphin pose, releasing to our forearm. Wonderful work. I want to get just a little extra work in dolphin. From this dolphin, we can return to our down dog. We'll visit that dolphin one final time in just a few minutes. But from here, we're going to go ahead, take a high plank. Let's roll on to that left hand. Right hand goes up. Good. Now on the opposite side, I showed you this on the forearm. You're welcome to hold it on the forearm, or you can keep this long extension through that left hand as we reach up and back. So I'm just showing everyone who's watching options on some of these exercises. Good. Once we've completed 3, we can go ahead, release that right foot forward, lower that hip to the mat. And again, here we can keep that hand up and lift through that left leg, or we can keep that left forearm down and lift through the leg a little higher. See the differences, guys? So you guys always have those options. Going back and forth, lifting and lowering, lifting and lowering. Good. Let's go ahead, do one more. And just like we did on our opposite side, as I get that left hand underneath myself and push through into a side plank, I'm going to slowly float that back leg. Right hand coming down, left leg coming high, stepping forward, forward fold. Good work, guys. Unique flow, challenging experience. Hope you guys were able to stay with me through it all. Let's inhale flat back. Good. Let's go ahead. Slowly exhale. Deep breath in. Root to rise, reaching high. Hands to heart center. We've done this pose before in other flows. I'm going to take Ekapada Tadasana, really balancing through that left foot. And then I'm going to cross it over my left knee, sitting in single leg Utkatasana, seated pigeon pose. If your balance feels off, just kind of go with it. Again, always being mindful of where your body is, how it feels. Wonderful work. Returning to Ekapada Tadasana, stepping back. Let's take Warrior One. Wonderful work, guys. Exhaling from Warrior One into nice cactus arms. And then we'll reach back all the way up, back to our extended Warrior One into Warrior Two. We'll take a peaceful or reverse warrior here. Wonderful job. Back to Warrior Two. I'm going to face the camera, lengthen through my stride, starfish pose, both toes facing the front of my mat. Deep breath in. Exhaling, forward fold into a straddle stretch. Good work. From the straddle stretch, let's inhale, flat back, bringing those hands back almost like we're doing cactus arms, just facing the ground. And then my hands are going to reach behind my back, interlace those fingers, point those hands up to the sky, release once again to that forward fold. Good work, guys. So to exit the straddle stretch, I'm going to actually point my toes to the right. So I'm going to return over to this right hand side. I'm going to take a pyramid pose here. Good. And then lifting that back heel, runner stretch. Stepping up to the mat, forward fold. Good work. We're going to do that same sequence on this side now. Root to rise, reach high. Deep breath in. Hands to heart center. We're rooting through that right hand now, or right leg now. So left leg or knee is going to come up. Ekapada Tadasana, single leg, mountain pose. Good. And then we're going to cross left ankle on right knee, sitting back, single leg, Utkatasana, or a seated pigeon pose. Good. As we rise up, we'll step back, left foot back, warrior one. Reaching up high, bending that front knee, hips are square. On our exhale, cactus arms. Extending out on our inhale. Exhaling back to warrior one. Inhaling, warrior two. Good work. Let's go ahead, release that back hand down, reaching high with our right hand. Reverse our peaceful warrior, returning to warrior two. Wonderful work, guys. You've done amazing so far. Let's go ahead, straighten up. We're once again in that straddle stretch. Reach high, only this time as hands come to heart center. Let's bring our heels in. Let's sit in goddess pose. Now, goddess pose is a nice wide hip opener. Good work. If you want to float those toes in goddess pose, you can. Good work. Now, from goddess pose, we can also practice a pose called spider. I'm going to slowly release these heels, and I'm going to take a step back just for the camera. And as I sit low in goddess, I'm going to release my hands like I'm reaching forward and come up onto what we call spider fingers, or tenting our fingers. So just our fingertips are touching. I'm going to sit as deep as I can into my goddess stretch. Hands can stay right here, or maybe they want to cross just to make it kind of fun. Head's going to drop right alongside upper arms, and then from there I'll raise up onto my toes. Holding here. Good work. As I release my heels to the mat, straighten my legs, let my hands come back in line with my feet. I'll slowly rise up. Starfish pose. Left foot comes towards the front of my mat. And I'll reach forward to take my pyramid pose on this side. Good work, guys. Lots of movement, lots of direction, lots of different poses. So good work for staying with me. As I take this pyramid pose, I'm going to then return to a bent front knee. We're going to go from this runner stretch to a step back into our down dog. Wonderful work, guys. While we're holding this down dog, I want us to start cooling our bodies down, stretching through those heels. Maybe really focus on just the left side for a minute. I'm going to let that right knee really bend. Good. And then I'll do the same thing opposite side. Right heel really digs in. Left knee completely bends. Good work. Let's even those feet out. Taking our time, dropping to our hands and knees. Tabletop position. Let's cross those feet underneath us, rolling back into a meditative pose, Sukhanasana. Knees bent, palms open and up. So as we sit here, eyes closed, I want us to return to our intention for our class. Breathing in Asteya, breathing in the belief of non-stealing, the practice of non-comparison, the practice of happiness for others. Exhaling feelings that steal from us. So stress, jealousy, envy, comparison, anxiety. Releasing those out and away from us. Wonderful work. Following that intentional breathing and intention focus, I want us to slowly make our way to our mats. Feet can extend out in front of us. If we're at the back of our mat, we can scooch forward so that we have space to enter our comfortable shavasana position. Palms open and up, resting here. Knees can be bent or we can be in traditional corpse pose. Enjoying a few moments of stillness and quiet, rewarding the body and the mind for the work that it has done. Taking shavasana. From your shavasana position, begin to maybe bring movement to your fingers, to your toes, letting that movement transition you from that stillness into the present moment. Maybe take a good morning stretch overhead, really lengthening out before we exhale, releasing from our shavasana pose. Returning to our meditative Sukhanasana, knees bent and crossed, one over the other. Eyes closed, sitting upright. Palms open and up and relaxed, signaling our body to maintain the openness that we created in Shavasana. Breathing in our intention and exhaling our stress and anxiety. Anything else that doesn't serve our body, we exhale and release out and away from us. On one final collective breath in, we can reach high, eyes can open, follow those hands, and then we can exhale, hands to heart center. As always, thank you for joining me for this beautiful vinyasa flow. Nice work. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.